welcome to Darwin at the Movies, Episode 1, in which I provide something of an introduction to the series. The assumption underpinning this series is that evolutionary theory should provide us insights into the nature of film, since film probably should be understood as being fossils of the mind. In the same way that we might dig up a skeleton fossil that tells us something about an ancient life form, our movies, when looked at in the right way, will reveal something about the ancient evolved nature of our minds. To understand why and how this would be, let's look at how evolutionary theory can approach film analysis. Although this has begun to change, the arts in general have long been neglected by evolutionary theory. In this series, I'll draw upon a few different approaches to film criticism, but the one that will most often be used is that of Richard Alexander, one of the real pioneers in thinking through the implications of human social evolution, and especially how morality functions in that context. He also is one of the first evolutionary theorists to appreciate the fitness benefits of self-deception, a matter we'll have occasion to delve into in future episodes. Alexander's work on the evolutionary theory of the arts, though, has thus far received much less attention. There are two angles to Alexander's thinking here. First, he addresses the evolutionary theory of the artist. Alexander observes that artists, like everyone else, are trying to improve their fitness. In that regard, being an artist isn't much different than being an accountant or a plumber or a computer programmer. In market economy-based society, people pursue vocations that they hope will lead others to paying the money. This money allows them to access food and shelter, etc. So, on one level, being an artist under modern circumstances is just an effort to gain control over resources, like the work of any other human in our ancestral past. There is an additional angle for individual artists, though. Unlike accountants and plumbers, an artist can have poor success in gaining control over resources and still gain fitness benefits. This is because there is a form of social prestige associated with being an artist. So, even in the absence of turning one's art into control over resources, the social status available as an artist can provide access to mates, which probably wouldn't be available to an accountant or plumber or even a computer programmer who hadn't been successful turning their vocational aspiration into control over resources. The romantic appeal of the artist in the garret enjoys some fitness leveraging opportunity. This understanding of the artist isn't especially remarkable. Most people who are reasonably conversant in evolutionary theory would probably be able to hit upon something like this explanation. Where Alexander's innovation becomes more impressive is in answering the unstated question, the explanation of that first angle on understanding the arts in an evolutionary context. That question, which brings us to his second angle on the topic, is why would anybody find the artist romantic? Why should the social status of an artist be elevated, regardless of whether they had control over resources? And indeed, why would anybody give any of their hard-earned money to an artist? While this seems like three separate questions, once we understand the answer, it'll become apparent that they're all three getting at the same idea, with the same answer. To understand the answer at this second angle, the scene needs to be set. Alexander famously recognized that humans were a bizarrely, uniquely social animal. Aside from the Hymenoptera, like bees or ants, which really are just giant nuclear families, no other animal cooperates with so many conspecifics, meaning members of their own species, and humans do it with those who are not terribly closely related to them. This extraordinary human sociality and cooperation has tremendous benefits, including safety in numbers, economies of scale, division of labor, and comparative advantage. The fruits of this unique sociality has allowed our species to prosper around the globe. As with most things in evolution, though, there was a price. This remarkable sociality also meant that humans were unusually dependent upon others for our success. If other humans would not form coalitions with us, befriend us, trade with us, or mate with us, we were effectively an evolutionary dead end. So, in addition to all the usual intersexual competition characteristic of most animals, we also had to deal with social challenges like morality and reputation-threatening gossip. To be a successful human has always required social skills. This has only become more true over recent millennia as we increasingly lived in more concentrated settlements. Figuring out how to negotiate all the potential pitfalls of social life has constituted a major fitness advantage. One proposed explanation for the evolution of human consciousness is to run such scenarios in our head before risking the trial and error route of attempting to implement them. While such a capacity would have been helpful dealing with the natural world, when dealing with the human social world, dealing with other highly intelligent individuals, and needing to negotiate the complex web of social and surreptitious relations and alliances that run through the fabric of human societies, such a capacity for effective scenario building would have been invaluable. This is where Alexander's analysis brings artists back into the picture. Just as we would pay an accountant to do our taxes or a plumber to fix our drain, we pay artists to run social scenarios for us. Their books, songs, paintings, and movies explore the social conflicts we might expect to encounter and what might be the outcome from any specific set of action choices. Those artists who are most effective at this, those who tell the most compelling stories, those in whose work we recognize some thread of human truth, are the ones we most cherish. Their work inspires and fascinates us the most. It is, of course, though, possible that an artist may not yet have been recognized for the scenario-building insight that they possess. That's why artists who aren't yet famous can still carry enough prestige to profit from sufficient social status to still improve their fitness. Of course, there have long been artists who eschewed the telling of stories. Abstract painters, autumnal composers, Dada poets. While these can still gain some genuine status in certain social circles, largely as a function of an anti-conformist virtue signaling, for most people such exercises are considered sterile and self-indulgent because, indeed, most of us are looking for insightful scenario-building payoffs in our engagement with art. Finally, though, there is a third angle to all this, which Alexander did not adequately emphasize. If Alexander is right on the first two angles, artists are driven by their genetic interests in pursuit of enhanced fitness to tell the most socially useful stories from a scenario-building perspective, then those works of art which have been most popular should be considered as having won a kind of referendum on their utility for providing insight into human social life that reveals something profound about our evolved psychology and its fit with our social needs. Such works of art could be regarded as fossils of the evolved human mind. They should reveal our evolutionary minds at work, face to face with our social challenges. Turning to film, I'd even take this insight a step further. While there might be quite interesting insight to take from particular films, like Forbidden Planet, The Godfather, or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, all movies I intend to discuss on their own in this series, the more reliable insights probably can be expected to come from the consistent patterns of such narratives across a wide range of films. For this reason, probably there will be even more to learn about these fossils of the evolved human mind from the study of film genres than from individual films, however prestigious the latter might be. And that will be a big part of what Darwin at the Movies will be doing, looking at the patterns, narrative and thematic, in various genres. As I'll explain in the next episode, I'll be starting with romantic comedy, as it is arguably the most naked in its attention to fitness challenges at the nexus of the core evolutionary concern, mating. My aim is to put out one of these a week. That may prove a bit ambitious, but why not think big? We'll see how it goes. Currently, these videos are available on YouTube, BitChute, and probably on my website. We'll see. More locations may well be coming, so watch out for that. And I hope you'll watch out for the next episode in this series, when we once again take Darwin to the movies.